Hey everyone, this is Mikedot here for OnRPG.com, and welcome to another episode of OnRPG's Kicktracker Report, a monthly web series focused on Kickstarter gaming projects that you should know about. For those that are new to the show, each month I go over a handful of new Kickstarter gaming projects, take a quick look back at campaigns from previous episodes, and give my opinion on what makes these Kickstarter projects so special. Okay, so we got a lot of games to cover in this episode. So to start off with some news, Zombie Playground by Stealth Studios has been released onto Steam Early Access. Now it's an action game that mixes the childhood nostalgia of the old Goonies movies along with the brutal zombie apocalypse of The Walking Dead. Now it's been about 3 years since this game was first seen on Kickstarter back in 2013, and since then has been handed over to a new development studio comprised of old members of the original Zombie Playground dev team. Now, along with a very lengthy alpha testing period, the game's early access release features 2 playable classes, 4 weapon options, a handful of customization options, and some very basic missions where players can explore an elementary school and kill a ton of zombies. Now, as I'm one of the original backers for this game, and I got around to playing this game for a few hours. Now, I like to say that it's a very bare bones game at the moment, and it's lacking in features, but in its current state, it's still a very fun game because it's very chaotic and quirky. The combat is fairly satisfying since you can pull off a handful of special attacks and combos with melee weapons and such, and it's just very fun to wail on zombies for hours on end. So it's a lot of good old mindless fun. Now, while this game still has a lot of work that needs to be done, it already has a very solid... In a turn of events, Hierarchy, the multiplayer medieval sandbox RPG by Ironjag, has had its Kickstarter campaign cancelled by the development team. In a news update stated by Ironjag on July 21st, development on the game will continue, but no specific reason for the campaign's cancellation has been stated. Of course, a fairly obvious explanation for the cancellation could be that the campaign wasn't drawing in enough interest, as it only managed to draw in around 37 backers with over $1,000 pledge, which is very far off from the campaign's $15,000 goal. Until an official announcement is stated, the team at Ironjag encourages everyone to check out their social media pages for the time being. Now, digging into some older news, Disciples of the Storm, a fantasy RTS game by Storm Isle Productions, has recently received some generous support from a well-known indie studio by the name of Tripwire Interactive, who are best known for their titles including Killing Floor and Red Orchestra. With Tripwire's pledge towards the campaign, they helped Disciples of the Storm reach well over $9,000. Despite receiving praise and support from such a well-known indie studio, as well as being a Kickstarter staff pick, Disciples of the Storm still has 8 days to go on its campaign, and with more than $35,000 to go, it has a lot of catching up to do. Spellsworn, the online wizard arena game by Frog Song Studios, has failed to meet its $25,000 goal, with only $7,000 donated by 206 backers. Despite the failed campaign, however, the team at Frog Song Studios will continue on with development for the game, as well as allowing users to support the game's development through PayPal donations on their official website. For some news on some ongoing Kickstarter projects, first up we have Blackwake, a naval-themed warfare game by Empire Gate. Now, taking some inspiration from movies like Pirates of the Caribbean and some popular mods including the Pirate Ship Wars, Blackwake recreates the feeling of being a part of a ship hand crew as you sail the ocean to battle against other ship hands in first-person naval combat. Players will have to take control of a massive ship, as well as several gameplay mechanics such as loading cannons for firing, repairing ship sails, putting out ship fires, and of course steering the ship towards and away from danger. Now, since the game doesn't have any set rules, players are free to manage the ship however they want. Now, originally, this Kickstarter had a campaign back in 2014 with a base goal of $34,000, but it failed only to receive around $70,000 from 200 backers. Now, over the year, the game has had an ongoing alpha test that gained a ton of buzz from the Let's Play community, which gave the Empire Gate dev team enough exposure to launch a second Kickstarter campaign, which has already reached 200% of its $75,000 goal. Now, the reason that their base goal is so low compared to the first campaign is because they decided that they're willing to pour more of their personal finances into the game's development in order to get the project finished, but they still need a little extra in order to develop the game full time. Currently, the game has no stretch goals planned, and all of their pledges will be used to speed up the game's current development. This campaign ends on September 2nd, 2015. Next up, we have Submerge, an underwater-themed RTS by Iceberg Studios, where players must survive a harsh undersea world filled with hostile sea creatures and even more hostile players as they fight for control over resources while using as little oxygen as possible. Players can recruit several different units with different skills and abilities, and join with up to 16 players in a persistent world that's constantly changing. There's also tech trees that players can use to research new underwater ships, a planned co-op mode, and even plans to let players play as some of the underwater creatures. Now, I absolutely love the style of this game, as the whole underwater theme is just very unique for an RTS game, and I also love the survival element of preserving oxygen, so you're just constantly on the clock, and every move you make could be a matter of life or death. Plus, having a persistent world makes the exploration and the random encounters all the more interesting. Right alongside Disciples of the Storm, it's a very nice change of pace for the RTS genre in general, but at the time of this recording, it still needs about 60% more pledges in order to reach its $60,000 goal. This campaign ends on August 28th, 2015. Last up, we have Eco, the global survival game by Strange Loop Games. Now, just to get this out of the way, at first glance, yes, it does look like yet another Minecraft clone, but when you take a closer look, it reveals so much more. The world that players will explore in Eco has a living, breathing ecosystem filled with all kinds of flora and fauna, hence the name Eco. Now, not only will you be playing with other people online, but you'll also be playing with thousands of simulated plants and animals that will be affected by the change around them. So players will have to think wisely about chopping down a bunch of trees or killing a predator-type creature. Now, to be quite honest, this is the kind of game that I've always imagined Minecraft should be like in terms of scope and scale. Now, I mean, Minecraft, you got a ton of exploration and creatures to encounter, but the worlds in Minecraft all feel very static, and the player consequences aren't as dire compared to this game. I'm very intrigued that players will have to maintain a balance between expanding their world while being mindful of the nature around them. And perhaps, maybe it will make us think just a little bit more about how much we as humans are affecting nature in the real world. In fact, they plan to distribute Eco into schools in order to teach students more about environmental science studies. So not only are they trying to make a compelling survival game, but it's also going to be educational. Yay, learning! But anyway, this game still has a pretty big base goal to reach at $100,000, and with only 20,000 pledged at the time of this recording, there's still a long way to go. Now, this campaign ends on September 10th, 2015. And that's all the time I have for this news recap. And if you'd like to learn more about the games featured in this video, just check out the links in the description below. But don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more for next month's recap. This is Mikedot saying over and out.